All right, I haven't talked to you for ages. I'm trying to remember the last time we ran into each other, didn't we? Randomly.
Maybe at the airport or something
It
like
was at
that.
the airport.
Yeah, it was probably the airport. I ran into a
Yes.
couple people at the airport, but
Yes, and what I was just saying to Tony, I got for those that want to know, Zach Takis is harassing me during this interview because I got an interview with him later on today, which is super exciting. We got two of the founding fathers, Zach Takis, and then the one and only right here, Tony Nguyen. I say one and only, but that's a little bit of a myth.
that is.
There's
You're
there's
right.
there's a few other Tonys in this world, right?
There's
Tony Nguyen specifically.
Tony, yeah, there's a lot actually, but yeah, we actually have another brother, same name,
Same name, same spelling. So
spelling.
this Tony that we're talking to now, he is T1 because he was the first. He came in and was one of the original founders of the chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Tony came. The other Tony went T2. So we got T1, T2. T2 came in, I think, like a year and a half later, something like that.
Yeah,
from you.
like that.
You guys were in concurrently for maybe a
couple
year.
Years.
Was it a couple of years?
1 or 2, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as welcome to SIGAP Success Series.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Dude, I'm your host, Oz, and
Yes.
and we got Tony. As Tony, I'm not sure how much you kept track, but I'm gonna throw some out for business purposes.
Okay.
I do this selfishly for me. I want to know what you've been doing, where you're at, what you're up to, but also I figured, I shouldn't just be so selfish and greedy. So I want to let other brothers know. So this is a little bit for me as well as for other brothers that we haven't seen in 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
and then those undergrads that want to know how to become a pilot. That's what you're our first pilot. Although we do have a few pilots in the mix. Well, that's not true. You're not my first.
Ted's he's a Navy guy though, right?
Yeah, those don't count, right?
Yeah, no, their landings are horrible. They don't know how to land the plane.
I love it.
Good thing you went first, because
now you can bash his flying skills.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like jet pilot. What? Try to take a 747 and land it on this. Yeah. Thousands of you deal with thousands of people. He probably just deals with hundreds.
Yeah, that's true.
Tens of thousands, right?
Tens of yeah. So.
Tony, where are you at right now? So catch us up. Tell us a little bit about you and what you've been up to, and living, family, whatever. What you want to share.
Well, I'm back in Salt Lake because the job's taking me at a couple different cities, but I'm back in Salt Lake now. With SkyWest Airlines, that's where I work for. Not to be confused with the Southwest, which everyone does all the time. SkyWest is a regional. We'll get into that probably a little bit more later. Family, yeah, I got married only. Unlike you guys, man, you guys get married so early, but I got married 2 years ago to almost 3. It'll be 3 in January, and we have one almost 2-year-old now, girl.
Oh, congrats!
Thanks.
Where now? Through my lurking, you met this gal in the air, right?
Yeah. It's sort of a little cliche, I guess you could say, but she was a flight attendant for SkyWest also, and that's where we met. So.
Okay. There's obviously a follow-up question in the sense of, you were both flying, 35,000 feet in the air sometimes, like dating.
Yeah.
Did anything happen? No, just kidding. That's how it all started. What's your kid's name? I was gonna say, is that what you're calling him? Is Mile High?
Mile High, yeah. Harper. Her name is Harper. Her middle name is actually Mile High. I'm kidding.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Harper, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so then your wife has kind of stepped back to just take care of kids.
Yeah, I mean, with childcare and everything now, her salary and just didn't make any sense. So it's like, well, now she has the hardest job in the world. So.
Oh, dude, yeah, COVID, the stay-at-home parents, man. absolutely brutal,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
difficult,
oh,
hardworking people.
for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So what I want to do is I want to kind of jump back a little bit. Let's go back
Okay.
through memory lane because
Okay.
yeah, I know. Yes, you and I we ran into each other probably at the airport, and then
Mm-hmm.
prior to that we might have seen each other. But
Once,
it's
maybe
been, I would say, a good solid 10 years since we actually
10 years.
planned
Mm-hmm.
to connect somehow
Yeah.
through the grapevine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how you ended up at Utah State.
Okay.
So where are you from?
I was born in Amarillo, Texas,
Okay,
and
Texas.
I only lived there for 5 years, and then we moved up to Salt Lake because um, my dad, he worked for the government, and we had to move up to Salt Lake, and that's where I grew up, is in Salt Lake.
Okay.
Spent most of the time here.
And
Um,
Utah State?
Utah State. So ever since I was about 5 years or so, 5 years old, I've always wanted to be a pilot, but every 5-year-old wants to be a pilot. And so that was just the thing growing up. And then once I was in high school, I was looking at doing research on flight schools, and I had no idea that Utah State had a program. And so we did tours. I originally was going to go to New Mexico. I wanted to go to New Mexico at some small college down there to become a pilot. But then we found out that Utah State had a program, and so that's how I decided to go to Utah State.
Okay. So you going into college, you knew you were going to go and be a
Yeah,
pilot.
unlike most people, I knew right away. I didn't change majors once in college, which is, from what I
Whoa.
understand, pretty rare. I don't know. So
Yeah, that is. What's your problem, man?
yeah, right. Gold
I,
digger,
I, I think I
people
did
like
a kind of
that.
a six. I think 6 times I changed my major.
Ah, so,
Still undecided to this day.
uh yeah.
So in college, you were okay. This is going to tap into your memory banks.
hmm
Do you know how you got connected to SIGEP? Because
Yeah.
you were in that first group, so I don't
hmm
know which group how you got introduced to
Yeah.
the Nationals guys that
So
interviewed.
those guys, yeah, they went, they did their rounds with the sorority, to try to advertise themselves. Do you remember that?
Oh,
And
oh, that's right.
and I was dating a Kappa Delta at that time, and so she they got to them because they're all, this good looking bunch of guys, oh my gosh, we got to do this for, I know somebody, and so she she introduced me to one of the guys. I think his name was Ryan.
Mhm.
And then I guess, if I remember it, they had got us, and they pitched the idea of SIGAP to us at that time. And you think of a fraternity, and then Utah State, for not being really known for fraternities, like, wow, But and then I met the guys and said, oh, this is not, it's not the same, it's a little bit different. So try it out.
So I did. Okay, I remember you
Mhm.
had that Kappa Delta girlfriend for some time, didn't you?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah,
dated for a while. What was her
we
name?
did. Her name was
I don't.
Linda. Linda.
Linda.
Yeah,
Okay, that's right.
Linda. Linda.
Hopefully, bring this up won't ruffle any feathers with the missus.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, you were dating her for quite some time, and then that
hmm
through the Kappa Deltas they brought you in.
Yeah,
So then you
yeah.
joined SIGEP, and
hmm
from the very first meeting, you were hooked, right?
Yeah, yeah. Right. Of course. No, I mean, because it's just, I think a lot of us, it took a little bit of time because fraternities, they had what's the word, this,
Just a bad
the
rap in
the
general.
bad
It's
rap,
like
yeah, and then so you took a couple times, I guess, and it was a lot of talking, a lot of sitting down, meeting the guys, and so
yeah.
yeah.
So you jump in SIGEP, and that's where we first connected. So let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about. I'm gonna bring up. So I did this last time. I've been toying with the software a little bit. I've been learning what I can do, and I'm gonna bring up some pictures through memory lane, and then we can talk a little bit more in depth in those. But
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen some of these. Some of these you might remember. I guarantee there's one you do not remember. So here we go. I'm going
Oh
to.
no.
Oh yes. Don't worry. I don't think you won't lose your job over this. Oh, I gotta make this full screen. No, none of these you'll lose your job on. Okay, so we're gonna start with this one right here. Do you remember this trip?
Was that out to Boulder? Was that our Boulder trip?
Yeah, Winter Park.
Winter Park, that's right.
We crammed in. It was a suburban. So we brought a suburban.
Mm-hmm.
Went out to Winter Park, and I want to say there's like 6 of us crammed in there.
Yeah.
It was you, Nate, and I in the very back.
Yeah. Yeah. Look how young you look, dude. I look the same, but man, look at you.
I know I'm missing a lot of this up here. Holy crap! Don't remind me. I know it's fun to reminisce about you guys, but looking at myself, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
A lot more gray.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we did Winter Park. So for those brothers that don't know or didn't have a chance, I know we took it wasn't Ruck or Carlson. It was just a regional. It was just like a regional thing. Yeah. And there was 7 of us, 6 or 7. We crammed. I remember we were in that. Yeah. And we went out to Winter Park out in Colorado, or just north of Denver, and it was this lead team building exercises, and we went in, and I don't want to brag, but I think we dominated a lot of the competitions.
I think we did, I think we did.
It was fun. It was over. I think we put you up and over a rope of some sort.
The ropes course.
And the ropes course.
The smallest guy.
There was we're like, okay, it makes sense. Throw Tony up and over. Yeah, because I think you were smaller than me.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, and I was a little bit smaller than Tag too. Remember? I think we just a little smaller than Tag. So. Yeah,
so that was Winter Park. Again, for me, it was a lot of those getaways. Those getaways where we got to even it wasn't the full chapter. It was just a small group of guys, brothers, and we went and man, we had so much fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, they did the team building, learned a lot, but overall it was building the bonds in between each other. Absolutely love that. All right, okay, we're bringing up the next one. Okay. Shoot. This one, not the highest quality, but speaking of who we just talked about.
Of course.
You also were a founding member of let's talk about that shirt, talk about that activity for us.
1 and 4, yeah. 1 and 4. This was walk a mile in her shoes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
describe it to those that don't know.
Yeah, it was a part of Savvy, sexual assault, I can't remember can you refresh my memory? Do you remember what's
Students against sexual assault and violence,
something like that. Yeah, so it was a sexual assault thing.
So we were a branch of Savvy. Specifically, it was the 1 and 4 group was a male educating males. And
basically. I think we did. So I guess we just traveled around and did presentations on. About sexual assault, and our name 1 and 4 comes from the statistic that 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted by college before in college.
Yeah, before they graduate college, they've dealt with sexual assault.
Yeah,
so, Tony, you and I, and Matt Bunnell, and Nate Putnam, a couple others. Of those that started 1 and 4, I think there was 2 Sigma Chi's, 1 Pike, and then the rest were all Sig Eps. And it was such a cool experience because we went to, there's a couple different high schools we went and presented, a couple different college groups we went and presented to. But it was something where we had to memorize our part. We had there was, I think, 4 of us standing up and present, and each of us had a specific script that we had to go through, but it brought up it's a very sensitive topic, and man, it was something that was eye-opening in general that sure, I didn't get involved, but but it's like this is a real issue. It's a real situation because I
Yeah.
had many people touch base, and then ultimately you just you help support those that are in need and
Hmm.
educate those so they hopefully avoid those
Yeah.
situations.
Hmm. Yeah. That's,
Um, it was good. The
it
walk a
was
mile
good.
in her shoes too.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Why?
you get the best pair of heels and, walk a mile in her shoes.
Yeah, and I'll bring this back up for those again. If
Mhm.
you missed Ted's episode, that's Ted
Sure.
Caryopoulos, Maverick himself, jet pilot, now helicopter. Actually, he then moved to
Uh,
737 cargo planes, cargo passenger.
okay.
So
I
yeah,
didn't know
he's
that.
getting up
Yeah.
to your caliber of
Hmm.
plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tony. So right here, two pilots side by side walking in high
Who would have
heels.
known? Who would have known?
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, and last one. Here we go. This one is always my when I think of you, I think this picture. I don't know why. Like it is nothing. So it's just this is a memory that just
Oh,
stands out and is grained in me.
uh,
Our tailgates, man, were epic tailgates.
yeah.
We would have
Yeah.
couches, lazy boys,
Hmm.
tables, and we had
Hmm.
groups of people. And we went.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
feast. It was a feast. We'd
Yeah.
go hours
Look at
before
those
just for the
guys.
social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
So we've had a couple people on the podcast. I've been able to have Dewey and Nick, our
Hmm.
first two actually.
Hmm.
Mike Deemer in between those
Deamer, yeah.
two, and Christian Thompson, another
Hmm.
lawyer in the bunch.
Oh.
Two lawyers down at the end. And then I got to be catching up. I need to track down Shane Russell and see where he's at.
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
um, anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
games,
I
man.
remember those. Those were fun.
So share with us what are some of your experiences like when it comes to oh, hold on, where's my mouse? There we go. Sigap, what were some of the memories that stand out as far as like what it was to you? What did you get out of it?
Well, like, get out of it. It's just, I think brotherhood. I think, it might sound cheesy or whatever, but I think, a lot of guys, we got to bond because I always guess I was sort of shy before the fraternity, and sort of the fraternity sort of opened up things for me. Even helped me in school just to, I guess, have more confidence. Because with a bunch of guys, and that are good friends, and always have your back, things like that. And I just think that it helped me grow or mature as a person too. Um, yeah.
Outside of what I shared, is there any other specific memory that you could share that kind of stands out to you?
There's I don't like just our experiences as I mean we did things like bonfires, what do you call those mixers with the sororities, those those are all fun. Um, just rituals, things like that. Memories that pop back in my head.
It's cool. 'Cause you bring up brother because it does. As cheesy as it is, it does. It creates these beautiful interactions that
Mhm.
aren't just social, right? We had our
Mhm.
social parties,
Yeah, yeah,
but we also had like you bring up ritual. Those to me were these intimate moments where
hmm
it brought the seriousness of you know me and you and what
yeah,
you mean to me
yeah.
as
Hmm.
my brother, like what I
Hmm.
would do for you, and
Hmm.
hopefully vice versa. And
Yeah.
so going through the years, we had brothers. When we started, we were kind of an abnormal group because we had some seniors. I think
Hmm.
you and I, there was a few that were just younger, and I
Yeah.
think we started with the first group was 26,
Okay.
um, and of those 26, I want to say like 17 of them left that first
Yeah,
semester
yeah.
or within a year. So we had a
Hmm.
quick guys like you and I stayed around, and we had to quickly turn and build more numbers and keep sustaining that. Because most chapters, they have big freshman classes and sophomore classes, and we were heavy on the senior. And so even though, literally texting, so Zach says hi, he says, give Tony my love. You guys, like, even though he was only there for, say, a semester, really, and then he graduated, he was gone.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just that simple little brotherly love. It's like, dude, I miss that guy. I remember him. I had a simple moment at a ritual where it's just like, that's my brother. And that's something oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying with Zach, it's like you knew he was going to go and become a successful lawyer. And then so that if you needed maybe advice in the future, he could, talk to that.
Absolutely. Well, you have no idea.
If you want to be a lawyer,
be sure to tune in because he's been my lawyer. I'm going to save it for later. I sold a business last year, and he's been my lawyer. Who I keep telling him, you should bill me sometime, but he's like, brother, I'll take care of it. No, just genuine dude. Love him to death. But no, I do plan to talk a little more detail on that because it's those that want to be a lawyer. But that being said, let's talk about. I want to stay with you because you're a pilot. Let's if undergrads are interested, I want you to talk about what is it like being a pilot. What were the steps you took?
Yeah.
Because these last 12 years since I've connected with you directly since college, how did you become to where you are today?
Okay, so I sort of wish I had some guidance because I'm first generation in my family, and all I knew going into college was that I want to be a pilot, but I didn't know the work that you need to put into it, or what do you even really need to do. And so I was just sort of thrown into it, and then I learned as I went on. But it's interesting because I first started at Utah State. I think the semester started the end of August in 2001. And then the freaking 2 weeks into the school, guess what happens? We have September 11th, 2001. So I remember going into class that day. It was because it was sort of surreal. And the instructor actually said, this is going to change aviation for the rest of your life. And it totally did, which is crazy. And so I talked to my parents that day, that night, or just after, because everyone was talking about it, and they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I have 4 years, at least 4 years left. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this pilot thing, and hopefully, it comes, and it's changed aviation, obviously, but
well, not to discredit prior, but it's like literally 9/11, because I was a freshman.
Yeah,
that changed, and I couldn't even imagine the aviation field prior to that. Yeah. Obviously, these guys went and got their pilot's license, right? So anybody could go and get a pilot's license, and so you knew that's going to directly affect you and how much, your whole trajectory is going to change. The layers,
and it's like it's at times that's what I've wanted to do. I've worked up in high school, junior high, telling everybody I want to do it, and I don't really think I want to change at this point because it's just a dream, and being in America, you can do whatever you want, basically. My parents were immigrants. They came over in 75 because of the war, and had the opportunity to do this. It's like crazy,
Ooh, wait. Pause. Sorry, define that, because you're also, we've had a couple of brothers that are first gen immigrants. Your family came over from
Vietnam.
Okay.
In 1975.
We had to clear that. We need to clarify that for Tag or somebody else.
Those guys who don't know.
Those don't know. This isn't just
inside joke, but
Okay. So Vietnamese. Okay. Came over in 75, and you're living this American dream. Like, you could be anything.
Yeah, my parents came over. They had the whole $20 in my pocket type story. That they came over, and so they were successful in growing up, and so they gave me the opportunity to do this. and it's not, and it wasn't cheap, and it still is not cheap to be a pilot. But there's things out there now that could help you more financially. So I did everything, and started off slow because 9/11 put a hold on a lot of things, and so I think it took me a year to get there's 3 or 4 or 5 licenses that you need. You need your private, your instrument commercial, and then your multi-engine, and then the instructor's licenses are optional, to be a pilot now. And if you want to be an instructor, you have to have 1,500 hours or something. It's less now. I think it's 1,000. If you're, I don't remember. I don't know all the rules, but the guy Younger would know. But up at Utah State, they can they've lessened the rules, I think, to become the hours to become a pilot if you go through a certain program.
Okay, so
there's that.
I'm going to make a little plug here if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Matt Bunnell, Lots of fun. He is if I need to double check this, but last I had chatted with him, he was an instructor. He's kind of over the aviation program.
Yeah, he was. Is that from what I understand? He is one of the either assistant chief up there, and he's also a newly designated examiner.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
So we're going to reference him. So any undergrads that are watching this that want to be a pilot, you can get your learn from Tony, but go get facts from Matt.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I don't know.
He is.
I've been gone for 10 years from the university. So.
Yeah, and you're doing your reoccurring, but that's great. Yeah. So to go into that pathway, we do have those avenues as far as up in Logan still. So. Yeah. So then, you went through, got all these courses, certifications.
And I graduated in 2000. So I started in 2001. I graduated in 2000. Took me 5 years, so 2006. And then I became an instructor at Utah State in 2008. Took me a little bit longer to get my instructor's license and things like that, but 2008.
Expensive. How much money did you spend? Because you have to pay for the flight time, right?
Yeah. So
what kind of? So we don't need to know the exact hours, but also financially, how much money? Because this is outside of tuition. You're paying tuition.
It is outside.
But you have
tuition.
to pay for the gas, the flight time, the instructor go with you. What kind of cost guesstimate that you spent to become a pilot?
I got maybe a total of around 60 extra grand on top of tuition and things like that.
Okay.
Now it's more though because it's because everything's so more expensive. But but there's also things that can help you. So there's a pilot shortage right now. So they say, and there's a lot of companies like SkyWest, regional companies that are helping subsidize a little bit of that cost. And so
if you commit,
exactly.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And then one of our other brothers, Tom Davis. Do you remember Tom?
I do know Tom. Tom.
Yeah. He was one of our recruiters, or still is a recruiter for SkyWest. And so,
sorry. Speaking of working from home, can you close the door? I'm on a meeting. No, out. You got to leave and close the door.
How's Kelsey? How are the kids?
The kids are good. I've got 3 boys. Xander is 10. Axel is 8. And then this guy just turned 6. Hey, come here. Want to poke your head in here? This is Enzo.
Hey, Enzo. How you doing?
This is Tony. This is my brother. We're brothers. Can't you tell? Look at him. Got the same face.
Yeah.
That's your uncle,
now
Tony.
You're just confusing him.
Okay. Give me some. I'll come out when I'm done. Okay.
Yeah. So
So sorry for that distraction.
No.
Joys and curses of working from home. So Tommy Davis is also in that program. Well, was in that program. You and Tommy did a lot, and you both started with SkyWest. You're both still with SkyWest, right? Or did you start with? And
Yeah,
you've been with SkyWest from the beginning?
yeah. I've been 10 years with SkyWest now, and Tommy, I don't
Wow.
think is far behind. I think he's almost 10, I believe.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, I talked to Doc, and he was telling me that Tommy does some like training. He's a lot about
okay,
he's
yeah,
doing more of the
he
training
probably is.
side
Yeah,
for a lot of the software and things within
yeah.
the
He's pretty
corporate.
involved in the company, from what I understand, and he's a lot smarter guy than I am. I just know how to fly the airplanes. That's
You
it. So,
just
so
so with SkyWest, is there region like it's regional, but is there certain paths that you are just like this is my daily routine? I know I go from point
yeah,
A to point B
yeah.
and then back every day,
A lot of
or
people ask that. So we're quote unquote regional, but man, we have trips all the way out to Maine. To
oh
Maine,
really?
yeah, we've got some up. We do seasonal up to Alaska. The only state we don't fly into is Hawaii because it's too far. But
Wow.
for those that don't know, SkyWest is a region, and the biggest plane we have is a 76-seater plane. We go
Okay.
from we have 50 seaters, 70 seaters, and 76 seaters.
So
And
I
I
think
fly.
I fly from St. George to Salt Lake
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Those are I think those are like
This
45, 50
the
people.
50 people ones,
Those
the
are 50
small jet.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's our headquarters in St. George. So
Yeah. Which
yeah.
are you? I know. I'm at the
Mhm,
airport. I see pilots coming in and out to
mhm.
do their corporate something
Yeah,
annually.
yeah,
Why aren't
yeah.
you calling me, man? You better
Are
call
you
me
down
next
there?
time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'll
down
call you
here.
next time we're in St. George.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's go do lunch.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course. But
So are you
yeah,
enjoying? Oh, go ahead.
no. I was just going to say, like, our work schedules vary from out and back every day, 2-day trips, 3-day trips, and 4-day trips. So,
Okay.
so
And do you are you kind of locked into one zone, or do you like one week you're going to be going to that Maine, or you're going to be going to that Alaska?
yeah, it just depends. Just depends on, we have a bid seniority system, and every month we get to bid on trips, and
Okay.
and it's all awarded by seniority. And so, tomorrow, what, I'm in Orange County tomorrow, and then I mean, I could possibly be in Maine next month. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How SkyWest, how big are they?
What are you talking about?
Like,
Like
I guess
planes or
no,
pilots or?
pilot wise, like because I'm familiar. So my sister's a flight attendant for Southwest,
Oh,
and so
okay.
I get the whole seniority based on
Hmm.
base. She was in Oakland.
Hmm.
She's now in Denver. Well,
Okay.
she's number 86 in Denver for flight
That's pretty
attendants.
good. That sounds like
So
she's pretty senior.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. But with
Hmm.
Oakland, she was like, well, but
Okay.
I think she was like in the thousand,
Okay.
1200 or something.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
by moving to Denver and being a
Hmm.
brand new,
Hmm.
she and her existing seniority transferred over. Like she was
Yeah. Hmm.
86.
Yeah.
So is that similar with pilots? Like, are you based in Salt Lake,
I am based in Salt Lake. Yeah.
and then seniority is up amongst just Salt Lake, or is it corporate pilots?
We have about 5,000 pilots right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, around like 400 planes or something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but and it's company wide seniority. So right now I'm like 900 something out of about a 5,000.
Out of 5,000,
Which
not
is
bad at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
not bad.
But for Salt Lake, I'm like 60%. So that means there's 60% of the pilots in Salt Lake are senior to me.
Then you
So
okay.
yeah, it goes company wide, and then each base has their like own little seniority.
So if you went to an existing a smaller base, there's a chance you could be higher and have
Exactly.
choice
Yeah.
out of the
Mhm.
flights from that area. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So
Mhm.
what would be okay if I'm an undergrad? I'm like I think I want to be a pilot. Like
Mhm.
what would you? Okay, because you are with SkyWest. It's a region. A lot of people use regional to jump into the next level, like a Delta or an
Yeah. Exactly.
American or United. Is
Mhm.
that something you ever plan to do? Is that why or why not? If I'm looking into becoming a pilot, why would I steer clear of that, or why would I use this as a stepping
Yeah.
stone versus go
Yeah.
straight into Delta or something
Mhm.
like that?
Yeah. Like so, we call those bigger guys majors. Delta, American, United, those guys, and typically guys go through SkyWest or other regionals, or even people are using like JetBlue as a stepping stone now, Frontier, Allegiant as stepping stones. As an undergrad,
Spirit's like a step down, right?
Yeah, right.
There's no step up from there. That's like
yeah. Surprisingly, I guess their pilots are happy there. So
the passengers aren't, but as long as their pilots are,
pilots are happy,
you'll at least get from point A to point B. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. For an undergrad, I would suggest we have what's called a cadet program, and I would suggest looking into that. And I'm sure any school knows it's like a partner. Like Utah State, I think is I don't know if they are partnered with SkyWest or not, but you can get in things like that. You don't necessarily even have to go to college. The people like Delta just dropped their college requirement, but college degree is actually, it gives you one more check mark.
Okay.
And so it's good to go to college. I majored in aviation. You don't have to major in aviation. I probably would have.
You could treat it as a trade, like a trade school. Like, hey, I'm just going to go get my pilot's license.
Exactly.
Is there a difference in pay? Like, if I graduate without the degree and you graduate with the degree, but we both get our pilot's license at the same time, does that automatically give you like an extra pay bump, or is that
no? Everyone's paid the same.
But I could never probably go corporate. Like,
you
that's
could,
probably maybe.
It's up to that corporate person. Corporate's the same thing. It's a whole other different animal, that corporate side. Right. So yeah.
So cadet program is like a partnership that helps kind of gear or guide you to that. Yeah. But would you say that a regional is better than a major?
No, I wouldn't say that. A regional, I think the work rules at a major is probably better. And then your
work
and pay is
define
better.
Okay, so better pay, but like define rules. What do you mean by that?
Work rules is just like, it's basically like how the company maybe like treats you, number of days off, like.
And that's better with the major.
Yeah, the types of hotels, things like that. If you're a commuter, they have commuter, policies and things like that.
Okay.
And it just, pay's not everything. It's a lot of things, but it's not everything.
Well, and that's nice that I could compare this slightly with. So I had two sisters in the airline business. One was I have an uncle that was a pilot for Southwest, and then his two sisters, one for Delta and one for Southwest, that were flight attendants. So my family reunion banter was always about aviation and flights. And so I kind of get what you're talking about in the world. But there's definitely advantages where Southwest, she was domestic. She was home, every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
My sister with Delta, sometimes it was these big trips, or she would end up on the other side of the U.S., couldn't get home. She was kind of stranded in some aspect. And, but yeah, it was just a lot more expectation. And it was, the atmosphere was definitely different. So I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah. And like I would suggest now to people that are going through is you probably want to end up at a major. Like me right now, I've got 10 years with the company. My pay is pretty good. My quality of life is pretty good. And so I would probably only choose one other airline that I'd probably go to if at this point, that would make it worth it for me. And it'd probably be just Delta, only because they have a Salt Lake base, and probably I just want to be home rather than have to fly to somewhere just to start work, so.
Yeah. No, makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, you're not saying you're switching, but that could be something in the future
it's still in the future. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But as of right now, you're enjoying life, living it. Good.
Life, yeah.
And there are partnership benefits that come with that, right? You guys can partner because you are partnered with Delta. You can go on international flights and
4 or 5. We got Delta, United, American, and Alaska, 4.
So as long as there's space on the plane, you guys could just travel the world.
Yeah, you can.
Dude, that's something you can't. Oh, fantastic! That's a sweet perk. Sweet perk. Some people might be making money, but you get flights and get out of this town when you need to get out. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
So okay, I wanted to ask you a couple follow questions. So
yeah, go ahead.
Where this plays a role with what you were just saying.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5, 10 years.
Are you happy in Salt Lake? Are you going to stay in Salt Lake? Are you going to?
Everywhere's just. My wife is from Southern California, and we looked and we just moved into another rental house in Sandy, and we looked for a place in Southern California, but it's just so expensive out there. And so that being, said and everything, I think we're probably going to be in Salt Lake maybe for a while. My family lives here; hers is down there, but we want to be.
You guys could travel. You can go visit anytime you need, right?
Yeah, live anywhere, just travel. So
very good, very good.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to ask something more on the technical side. So your planes are, 50-seater, 75.
Mm-hmm.
When you go from, say, a regional to a major, you're going now all of a sudden to 777, 760.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Does it? At what point is the plane's the plane? Like the same gadgets and same gadgets. So do you when you take that jump? Do you have to go through additional trainings, hit so many landings and takeoffs before you're eligible?
Yeah.
How does that work?
A lot of people ask that, and it's basically just the plane. You just have to learn the plane and the. So if I made the jump to Delta, let's say, and I get given an airplane to fly, you only train for that one airplane, so you don't get it mixed up. Like either a Boeing, a 737, that's your plane. Mm-hmm. Kind of assign that, and then all you got to learn is basically the plane, and then the company rules. Other than that,
is it like driving a Mini Cooper versus a van?
Yeah.
Is it just like it's the same?
Yeah.
You got a steering wheel, you got gas and brake, but like you just got to watch your elbows a little.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is. So I mean, it takes the same amount of time to learn each plane. Like it takes there's a 6-week program to learn a different plane for our company. So
okay.
So,
interesting. Yeah, because you see that, and like I've been on a little Cessna. My old boss in Alaska, and he's like, "Do you want to fly?" I was like, "Okay." So I grab the yoke, and he's like, "Now move it." And go. But I'm like, it felt so simple. And then you look behind the doors when you walk into a plane, and it's just like gadgets. And then you go to the bigger size. Because I see it from Delta or from SkyWest here in St. George, and then go to a Delta, and the cockpits are crazy different when it comes to those buttons. But overall, they all do the same thing. It's just
they all do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, all we are training for emergencies. I mean, because flying a plane is about stick and rudder. It's all basics the same. It's just training for emergencies and things like that.
And being ready for those. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, 10 years, you don't know, but you'll probably be Salt Lake. Probably feeling Salt Lake.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah, unless something crazy happens.
Well, and you have a new little daughter. See, I kind of got locked in when my kids were in school. Like we came down here when my oldest was kindergarten. I was like, well, I guess we're gonna stay here till they're, because when you start to get stuck with your children and their schooling and where you're like, I can't move them out. Yeah. And they get into the junior high, and you can't move them out for social reasons. Exactly. So you might be stuck. You might be stuck in Salt Lake.
We'll see.
Maybe come down to St. George. Hey, well, that's right. That's middle ground, right, between California and Southern California.
Yeah, it is.
There you
still
go.
Commute somewhere though. I still have to.
There's not many flights out.
Drive to Vegas or what's Vegas? 2 hours from there.
2 hours.
I think Southwest has a base down there or something.
I really wish SkyWest would have more flights to more places out of St. George.
I know.
It's very
I think
limited.
A lot of people do too. I think
it's so frustrating.
I think most of the flights out there are more for corporate people. The ones that we actually go.
Dude, I've been on a flight.
Big bases.
I swear there was 20 employees on that flight because it was a
They're
standby
always,
list, and all of them
yeah,
were like they got their
on the
badges.
standby list,
I'm
exactly.
like, so
Hmm.
I'm paying for your flight attendant?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We lose money on those flights.
It's probably because I'm just using points anyways. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, perfect, Tony. I'm gonna wave a magic wand and give you as much money as you can have. Your money problem is solved for life. What are you going to do with your time?
It's so you're saying I have all the money. So you're saying I don't need to work?
That's whatever
I mean,
you have all the money you need. What do you do to fill your time?
I think if even if I had all the money in the world, I think I would still have to fly. I think if you want to be a pilot, I think you have to have the drive to just like to fly, And so, I mean, I'd
Are you
still
addicted
fly.
to it? Should I be
Addicted.
worried? Is this an addiction?
There might be, yeah. I think there's groups for it, but I think, yeah. And
You like it?
yeah, my wife will tell you, yeah, like if I have like a couple days off, and I'll watch a plane show, and she just laughs at me because, but what I like, oh, money, it's just I'd like to travel too. I think traveling would be fun. I mean, I travel for work a lot, but I don't get out as much as like sometimes I go to a city and it's like, man, I want to spend some time here, So traveling would be a huge thing.
Where's the funnest place you've been? This doesn't have to be work trip. This is just traveling outside of Utah. Where has been the best place you've been?
Just anywhere. Southeast Asia. It's pretty fun.
Go back to your roots.
Back to the roots. It was fun just because it's different. Not different. Well, different culture than here. And my parents, they're familiar with it, so we had a lot of fun. We did a tour down there in Southeast Asia, and it was cheap at the time. It's getting more expensive, but dude, it's fun down there.
Good food,
funnest, good food, great food. Yeah, you just there's no FDA though, so you just got to be careful.
You just got to trust.
Keep a bathroom nearby. So
I get that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, I love it. Okay, Tony. If you can share one thing to the undergrads, what would be one tip of advice through either your college experience or career experience? What is one thing you would want them to know?
One thing of advice, I think asking questions. I think maybe I didn't know enough or have enough experience or talk to enough people or ask a lot of different questions. But I think people sometimes hesitate to ask questions because they think that either people think that they should know it or like people make them look stupid. But if you ask a lot of questions, I think you'll do okay because I don't think I asked enough questions when I was in college to get to where I am.
Don't be afraid to be wrong.
Yeah,
I tell that to employees. I've told that. Yeah, don't I can tell it to my own kids. Ask questions, man. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, ask.
Yeah. I mean,
so crucial. And oftentimes,
speak up, because as a captain of an airplane, I mess up too. I mess up probably more than my first officers do, but
hopefully not up there.
Not up there. But, that's why there's let's catch each other's mistakes. So, ask those questions.
That's a very fascinating. No, that's a very good nugget of information because it's just like pilots. Like you have that redundancy, right? You have two pilots because of that redundancy, and you're supposed to kind of lean on each other. And I think I'd say almost SIG up and the brotherhood should be set up like that. It's like that's why you have brothers to support you, vice versa, to ask when you don't know, when you're at a loss. We're there to help each other get through college.
Yeah.
And ask, and don't feel bad if you don't know something, man. It's just like that's all. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Last question.
Yeah.
If you were to see, what do you want, or well, better said, what do you want to share with the brothers that have not seen Tony in 10 years? What do you want to say to them?
Oh man.
The Zach Takis, the Jared Westbrook, Mike Deemer, Christian
Yeah.
Thompson. I'm looking at these pictures right now.
Yeah.
What do you want them to know about you, and just what would you want to say to them?
I think thank you. To help a small guy like me, just get out there, open a show, get out and do more things. I think is that, and then I would like to know where they are, and I think this is good that we do this so that we see. But we always say things like, oh man, we should catch up, and do things, and it's so hard with our families and things like that to make fun.
Life gets busy.
Everybody, like, you can't find time where everyone can meet up, so but yeah, I mean, just thanks to those guys out there that helped me become a better person, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank them, but thank you, Tony. Honestly, I've loved the relationship I've had. I've wished we were a little bit closer in proximity.
I know.
But now there's no excuse when you're coming down here annually.
Yeah,
we got to do lunch. I would love to do lunch with you. But no, in all honesty, you, and again, inside joke, you've always been on my mind at least once a year. That's thanks to Tag and you and a running inside joke.
I will at least once a year I'm going to hear from you guys. I will never forget that day now.
And that's that is what this brotherhood creates. Is those memories that you, everybody. There's something that happens. Like anytime I see a fire, as sad as it is to see a fire or smoke on the mountains, I'm like, Austin, A-Train, man. Every one of my brothers has a little memory planted in some experience, and that brotherhood plays such a crucial role, really even to this day.
Yeah, and then I think this is mostly for us catching up, but these undergrads that they can reach out. I mean, you have my contact information. Anyone needs any advice or anything on this whole pilot thing, I can give them what I know. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I can give them what I know. And
so if you want to get a hold of Tony, feel free to reach out to me. You can find him in the directory of SkyWest Airlines. But I want
hi. If they're ever on a SkyWest plane, say hi. I'll talk to them.
I see. I got to get on your plane. I fly SkyWest again, primarily in and out of St. George. So I don't know how many of runs that you get, but It's on the smaller jet, So
I
know.
Pop in, say hi, dude. We'll give you an extra bag of pretzels. I'll give you an extra bag of pretzels.
Would you? Would you? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, such a nice guy.
That's what makes this brotherhood all worth it. The pretzels.
The pretzels, the extra bag of stale pretzels. So.
That's right. All right, man. Well, Tony, thank you again so much for your time. I do appreciate it. It's quick. Well, we'll get together. I like I said, you're going to come down here. I do know I'm going to come up there. We're going to try to pull something together up in Farmington.
Okay.
So I know Nate Putnam has offered to host something, and so we're going to try to get another little live event.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So, but like I said, I want to make sure at least the brothers that haven't seen you know what you're up to. I know everybody asks me. Where everybody's at, and I'm like, it's been a couple. I got to catch back up, and so as much as I do run into brothers, it's nice to make a strategic plan to see everybody.
Exactly.
So I love you, man, and I will touch base with you again sooner than later. Yeah, at least in a month and a half, I'll touch base with you for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Close. I have my alarm, like I said.
It's close. It's close. All right, Tony. I'm gonna hang this up and then. Wait. Here we can just stop.